The Cabinet has deferred a crucial decision tonight to change the way senior judges are appointed after differences within the government over the issue. NDTV has learnt that the centre is ready with a proposal which will allow the executive to have a say in appointments, ending what many say is an opaque and flawed system where judges appoint judges. My colleague Sandeep Phukan has more on that story. Sandeep, it was anticipated that the Cabinet would actually clear this today. What led to the delay?
Well, to begin with, what happened was that this is, as you rightly say, that this is going to be a huge decision. It will have many repercussions. I think the government in its wisdom felt that there should be more consultations. It was listed in the Cabinet. It was item number 6 in the Cabinet agenda today, but it was deferred at the last minute. What we understand is that, probably there will be many more consultations, but the broad contours are ready as to what the structure will be like, what the government wants. In fact, I've read the detailed Cabinet note on this, and I was actually quite surprised by the language that they've used for the present collegium system. Nidhi.
What is the essence of the proposal then, Sandeep?
Well, basically what they want to do is that they want to do away with the present collegium system where actually judges have a final say. In fact, the Cabinet note says that, the Constitution merely says that there should be consultation between the Chief Justice of India and the Executive. And consultation does not mean concurrence of the Chief Justice of India. What basically it seeks to do is to, make it is more broad-based and more participatory, where the executive has a higher say. So the proposal is the following, that instead of the current system of collegium where you have a group of judges who decides on a shortlisted names, you will actually have a very fixed structure called the Judicial Appointment Commission. So Judicial Appointment Commission, or the JAC, will be chaired by the Chief Justice of India. He will be the chairman. There will be 2 more judges from the Supreme Court, sitting judges. Then you will have 2 eminent jurists nominated by the President of India, which basically means that there will be government nominees. There will be the law secretary, there will be the law minister. So it's going to be a 7-member body, and currently as it stands, Chief Justice of India and 2 judges of the Supreme Court, that's 3 from the judiciary. You will have 2 eminent jurists nominated by the government. You will have the law minister and the law secretary. So that's 4:3. So quite clearly, the government will have a greater say. Though I must say, in the Cabinet note, Ministry of Law and Justice has quite clearly mentioned that there is a view that the leader of the opposition should also be included in a democratic setup like this. That could also be considered, but that was not really part of the proposal or proposed structure as it stands. Nidhi.
All right. Well, if it is clear, it would be a landmark decision, and it would completely change the way judges are appointed in this country. Thank you very much for that, Sandeep. So the question we're asking is whether the government or the executive should have a greater say in judicial appointments in India. You can also take part in this debate via our second screen app on your Android or iOS devices and vote on the questions that you have for our panelists this evening. Well, joining me on the program tonight, we have Justice Mukul Mudgal, former Chief Justice of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, former Judge of the Delhi High Court. Justice B.A. Khan, the former Chief Justice of the Jammu and Kashmir High Court, joins us tonight from Srinagar. Justice Ashok Ganguly, former Supreme Court Judge and the current Chairman of the West Bengal Human Rights Commission, is with us. Mr. Ashok Desai, the former Attorney General of India, and Senior Advocate Raju Ramachandran. Let me ask Justice Mudgal first. What do you feel about this proposal? Because the Law Ministry says, as it seeks to push this, that the present system is unprecedented in India. In no other country in the world does the judiciary appoint its own, and it's inconsistent with the constitutional scheme. Would you say that the current system is flawed and needs to be overhauled?
Current system is flawed to some extent. There should be some input of the executive. I agree there. But the bill as proposed makes it 4-3, in bare numbers. And I don't think that is proper. Certainly there should be 1 jurist. There should be 1 law minister. You can even have a member of the leader of the opposition. But to have a law secretary there, that means there the idea, if the idea is to outvote the judges, I don't agree with it. My view is, yes, you have 3-3-6, and in case of a deadlock, then the Chief Justice of India should have a casting vote. Otherwise, in the majority voice should be of judges, but certainly the input is absolutely essential. Input of the a jurist.
But you say the majority voice should be that of the judges. Let me ask Justice Khan. Justice Khan, do you agree with that? If you could tell us what you feel is the biggest flaw in the current system right now, if you feel there is one, because the biggest criticism is that it's a very opaque system right now. It lacks transparency. We don't really know why certain judges are selected, on what basis they are appointed. Do you believe that this new proposal is therefore radical and should be done?
Nidhi, there is nothing wrong with the system. You may choose any mechanism or any system. It all depends on the people who man it. If you recall, we had created this system and the Supreme Court appropriated all powers by a judgment in the second advocate's record case. And though it was contrary to the constitutional scheme, but the public expectation was that they will do a fair job, they will make a fair selection, they will lay down a fair criteria. Nobody expected that when they come to operating the thing, the powers which they have appropriated to themselves, we will have all sorts of allegations. We have allegations of nepotism, we have allegations of favoritism, we have allegations of quid pro quo, we have allegations of give and take. We have all types of allegations which are now making this system look somewhat disastrous. What I would say is that it's not that the executive has no say. Executive always has a say. If you look at the procedures, how the appointments are made, at the state level, it is the Chief Justice making a recommendation with his two colleagues, and then there is a Chief Minister, and then there is the Governor. And you have cases why the High Court appointments are not being expedited, why they take 2 years, 3 years. Because a recommendation made by the Chief Justice is very often stalled at the Chief Minister's level or at the Governor's level. So executive inputs are there is nothing wrong with that. But what has gone wrong is that at the level of these collegiums, fairness, transparency, lack of criteria for selection, likes and dislikes, all that is going on, which has made it look so bad that one thinks that there has to be a change now and let the executive take over. Executive was there already from 1950, if you recall.
But sir, are you saying that's not the solution? Essentially, I think what you're trying to say, it's not the solution to have the executive have a greater say.
No, there's a cry for change. One doesn't know how that change will work out. Now, suppose you put in a law minister or you put two jurists there, unless they have a mechanism, some kind of a mechanism to scrutinize on merit who should be a candidate suitable for elevation to High Court or to the Supreme Court, this will meet the same fate.
Okay.
All I am saying is that unless you lay down the procedures, unless you lay down the criteria, unless you eliminate these likes and dislikes, unless you eliminate the subjectivity that has crept in the whole selection process after this.
It's going to be disastrous, you're saying, either way. Mr. Ashok Desai, how do you see this? Because there are other eminent jurists who have cautioned against rushing ahead with this without proper discussion and debate. What do you think the primary concerns are of having the executive have a greater say in appointing the higher judiciary?
There are two distinct questions and we must keep them separate. Is the present system working satisfactorily? My answer is no. If so, how do we improve it and what are the problems in the present system? The Constitution never thought that judges will appoint other judges who will in turn appoint other judges. This is a unique system as far as Indian Constitution is concerned, which has been imposed or taken over by the Supreme Court by a very aggressive interpretation. There's a background to it. In the Kumar Mangalam days, there was a theory that you should have forward-looking judges or judges who will be, as Daftari said, will be looking forward, and therefore you should man judiciary with certain progressive judges. In the emergency, however, we had timorous judges who caved in. And after the emergency, therefore, there was a new view taken, and Supreme Court in a trilogy of cases completely changed the system, which is not really to be found in the Constitution. Namely that there will be a collegium, and the collegium will decide what happens. Now look at the problems of the collegium which have to be analyzed. Firstly, there is no transparency.
Right.
The 5 gentlemen, very well meaning, full of information, no doubt, do not consult anyone apart from themselves. I can tell you from experience that from time to time, the names are absolutely, names emerge from almost something which is blank or something which is not known.